Hi, it's Dr. Katie here. Most health hopeful food prisoners, and this probably includes you, want to be lean and healthy for life, right? They have a life they want to live, full of meaning and purpose and service and love and connection and experience. They want to see their grandkids graduate from college. They want to go travel Europe, things like that, right? And they want to live life to the fullest without their body holding them back, right? Slowing them down because they don't have energy or they're in pain or it's shortening their lives, right? They want peace in their body and in their mind and in their life to live free from the negative effects of food. The problem is that most of them look for a quick fix, whether that's a fad diet or they are restricting, they're counting calories or carbs. They search endlessly for a silver bullet superfood or some supplement, right? They try exercising, they try medications, even surgery. And, they're looking for the solution to long-term leanness and health. And they run from one strategy to the next with some short-term success, but it doesn't last long-term, right? Like the weight just comes back. Their medication dosages just keep increasing. They forget that it's about creating a truly sound, health-promoting nutritional habits that will support a healthy body and a healthy weight for years to come. So, how do you create sound nutritional habits to support a healthy body and a healthy weight for years to come? You could try a fad diet like keto or paleo or intermittent fasting or a program like Weight Watchers or something like that, right? You could try restricting or counting calories, but how are you going to sustain a lifetime of health on a fad diet or by counting calories? There are lots of studies that show that diets don't really work long term. Okay, on the top here is a 2001 meta-analysis. So that's a study of a lot of studies that showed, the people that lost weight regained at least half of the weight that they lost within 2 years, and that they regained at least 80% of the lost weight within 5 years. Another set of studies in UCLA found that people regain more weight than they lost, actually. 23% of people within 2 years and 83% of people after 2 years have actually regained more weight than they originally lost. Okay, and then how will you do this with some magic silver bullet superfood or supplement? First of all, it doesn't exist. If it did exist, would you just rely on taking that for the rest of your life? All right, and how will you do this with exercise? The science actually shows that exercise is extremely ineffective on its own for weight loss and weight management. Studies upon studies upon studies show that compared to a dietary approach, exercise doesn't actually make you lose all that much weight. And then how would you do this with medications? Medications don't get to the root cause of the issue. And so medications for weight loss are only effective as long as you're taking them. And the long-term effects have been little studied, plus they come with lots of unpleasant side effects, okay? And then if we're talking about something like heart disease and, being on medications for heart disease, the medications reduce the death rate of cardiovascular disease by about 9%, okay, according to studies. So really, it's pretty ineffective. That means 91% of the people die, even though they're still on medications, okay? And then how would you do this with surgery? Again, surgeries don't work. If we're talking about like gastric bypass surgery, the failure rates of gastric bypass surgeries are high. This study looked at bariatric surgery patients at least a year post-op, and 42% of them failed to lose at least 50% of their excess weight. So they didn't even lose all of their weight. They lost all of their excess weight. They lost half of it. And in this other study, 44% of patients had inadequate weight loss. 44% had band failure and 50% had inadequate weight loss. And then there are risks of complications and side effects like heartburn, and complications like band slippage or erosion, gallstones, perforation, small bowel obstruction, and even death. All right. And then if we're talking about surgeries like for heart disease, again, cardiac stents reduce the death rate of cardiovascular disease by about 3%. Okay. So in other words, 97% of the people who would die without a stent still die. It's totally ineffective. And plus surgeries for, heart surgeries are expensive, anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 or more. And those come with risks and complications as well, like infections or even death. So what's the solution? Whole food plant-based eating. In the EPIC study from the UK, it showed if you just cut meat out of your diet, the heart disease death rate goes down by about 35%. That is 3 times better than the best medications and about 12 times better than surgery, with no unpleasant side effects and very low cost, right? And then there's Dr. Esselstyn has done studies, and the results that he's gotten with his patients in his studies are astonishing. And he shows that if you eat the right things, whole plant-based foods, and avoid the wrong things, he's shown that heart rate disease goes down by 99%. And here's a lot of studies that support that. So the only way to achieve lifelong health, disease prevention, and weight management is through a sustainable, nutritionally sound lifestyle, not a diet, a way of eating to live that actually prevents and reverses disease by fixing the root cause of the disease, right? And it's effective for healthy weight management. And it's actually possible and actually pretty easy to sustain for a lifetime. And there's so much strong evidence, hundreds of studies showing whole food plant-based is the best way to maintain a healthy weight, prevent disease, and live a long and active life. And when most people think about going whole food plant-based, they think maybe number one, I can't give up my favorite foods, or cutting those things out, or going cold turkey is just too hard. I can't do that. So I get it. I really do. For me, at one point in my life, thinking about giving up chocolate was just unfathomable and even painful. And today I don't even miss it. Okay. Hypothetically, let's present this scenario. And if this is a real experience for you, my heart goes out to you. And I do not mean to bring up a painful thing for you. But just go with me here. Like, let's say that you had a child diagnosed with cancer, like terminal cancer. And then let's say, just suspend your disbelief for a moment, go with me, that it was standard medical care for your doctor to say, look, this child's cancer will be cured if you never give them a hug again for the rest of their life. Could you do that? Like, if that were the way to cure your child's cancer by never hugging them again, would you do it? Would it be important enough to you to do that? I know, like, to never hug your child again would be a sacrifice. It would be sad. There would be a grieving process. Like, that would really suck. But if it were important enough to you, right? Like, what's the trade-off? If it meant that never hugging your child again would save their life, could you do it? Right? And then there would be other ways to show them affection. You could give them kisses and high fives and back rubs, right? You're just not hugging them. So I want you to just think about that. Like, you could give up anything if it were meaningful enough to you, and if the trade-off were worth it. So think about your own health and your own life and what that is worth to you. Okay. And as you go through this new way of eating, you will find new ways to really relish and enjoy your food. Okay. Another thing people think when going whole food plant-based is, oh, it's too restrictive and I can't live like that. And I just want to invite you to think, like, have you considered what will happen if you just stay on this path and you just keep eating everything you want and you don't restrict any foods? Which is a more restricted life? One, eating whole food plant-based and feeling amazingly free and energetic in your body and free of disease, or eating whatever you want, but being overweight and sick and having brain fog and mental health struggles and in pain and a shortened lifespan, which is more restrictive, really. And then some people think, well, what do I eat? Like, I don't know. There's so few choices, or whole food plant-based eating is bland. Okay. I just want to show you how beautiful and amazing and what a variety there is in the whole food plant-based realm of possibility. And there are just so many delicious foods and recipes that you can try. And it really just depends on your own imagination. There's so many options out there. And then finally, some people might be worried that they can't get enough protein on a plant-based diet. And just again, the science shows that you can get all the protein you need from plant sources, and that we get all of the amino acids that we need from plant sources. But I just want to challenge you to think of, like, what vegan do you know in the US, in Western societies where we're not like, starving children in Africa where we don't have any food. Like, if you're on this whole food plant-based diet, what vegan do you know who actually has a protein deficiency? Like, legit medically diagnosed protein deficiency. Do you know any who's like withering away and muscle wasting and just into nothing? Like, I really challenge you to, who, doesn't have like an eating disorder, like they're eating whole plant foods. Yeah. And there are plenty of examples of just people out there who are crushing it and getting lots of protein into their bodies, and are, athletes. So Derek Treesize is a bodybuilder on a plant-based diet. And this is powerlifter Allison Crowdis. And then I think we all know tennis legends Venus and Serena Williams. Okay. They are plant-based. So how can you go whole food plant-based the right way and sustain it for a lifetime? I invite you to learn how at my Empowered Health Food Freedom Masterclass. This is going on live May 23rd to 27th, 2023, and you can register at the link below.